our first speaker today is Aletha. She is the owner of True Home Restorations. It's a design business that focuses on interiors and exteriors of homes built between 1950 and 1975. And I will introduce Rhonda later on when she starts, but Aletha will share lots of information with you this first part.
My mic, am I on? No. Okay, can you still hear me? Yeah. All right, fantastic. Well, I'm Aletha Vandermas. I am a small business owner here in West Michigan. I got to turn it on. Hannah, I'd like you to turn this thing on for me. You didn't turn the
Yeah, say it again.
Oh, the mic on. I'm thinking it, so I think you can hear me, but I think you want to hear me too. I have a weird dress on, so I can't do it myself. I will hang out right here. All right, are we on now? Yes, I can hear myself. All right. I'm Aletha Vandermas, like I was saying. I'm a small business owner here in West Michigan. I am also a mid-century enthusiast, and I'm excited to share today a little bit about mid-century modernism. As McKenna said, I'm a home designer. I'm focusing on homes just built between 1950 and 1975, so obviously my niche is kind of small, but I'm really passionate about it, and I'm hoping today to kind of tell you a bit about what I do, but also about what I'd like to see you guys do so I can help you sell these houses that maybe aren't the most spectacular versions of mid-century modernism. I opened an event planning company in 2007. After 4 years of spending some time in corporate America, I kind of hated my cubicle and was ready to work for myself. So maybe some of you can agree with hating cubicles. And then just last summer, I decided to open True Home Restorations, so that was a big step in kind of walking away from my event planning firm, which I do still own. I just don't operate on a daily basis. I'm going to tease you with a few photos here from Palm Springs, which is not fair because it's 90 degrees there today. But mid-century modernism has been part of my life since I was a little girl. My grandparents actually live in Palm Springs, just in the wintertime, lucky people. And I've been admiring these homes since I honestly, probably at least 15 years, where I really took notice of these houses and really thought, what in the world are these houses? They're so interesting. Do we have these in Grand Rapids? Do they exist? I've never noticed any. I really have been going there since 1986, so quite a long time. I would say in the mid-90s I started noticing them and really trying to understand what they were. My grandma always said they were, kind of low because it was so hot in Palm Springs, so they had to stay low. There were no two-story traditional homes. At that point, they had kind of been remodeled. Lots of people were making them into Mediterranean retreats. They were Spanish adobe. They had the tile. They put tiles on the roof, and they, kind of got rid of a lot of the aspects that I really enjoy. So since 1990, I have an example later, but in 1993, one of the very cool homes there, one of the Wexler steel homes, was bought for $100,000. And that is only $164,000 today, so not that much. And it was purchased by someone who was going to restore it. And they, I don't know if that person is still living in their home, but I do know that another home is for sale right now, just across the street, another one of the Wexler steel homes. And it is for sale today for $900,000. So kind of a big deal since 1993. So what is mid-century modernism? I talked to Rhonda here, one of the other presenters today, and she said the last 5 years, the conferences she's been going to, everyone is talking about mid-century modernism. So how come we're talking about it in Michigan, so late? It's been going on in California for the last 20 years, so why now? Why now? My husband kind of describes mid-century modernism, and I should say we're both into mid-century modernism, which makes it easy to chat about things over dinner time. But he kind of described it to me as an infusion of design and living. So we think about it as, yeah, there's the open floor plan that many people want today, but there's also, it's a unique home. People walk in and say, wow, this is fantastic. Tell me about your house. I want to know more. So any everyone building these homes originally also wanted something unique. They weren't building what they grew up in or what their parents were living in. They wanted something unique, so they worked with an architect and they worked with someone to make this house really spectacular. They were asking themselves, what's next? What's new? What can we do differently? What can we do that is, what can we do to improve on the design? So, and to me, that sounds very similar to people today who are building modern homes. So, to me, mid-century modernism is something that kind of encompasses my whole lifestyle these days. I love clean, simple lines. I love the minimalistic furniture that goes along with that, the artwork that we've kind of started collecting over the years, and all the things that kind of wrap up into our whole lifestyle. We entertain a lot, so having those big spaces that are open inside our home to host family and friends and kind of just enjoy that casual lifestyle that we get to is really fantastic. I might have skipped a couple here, sorry. This is one of those Wexler homes I was talking about a little bit earlier. This is currently, I snapped this photo last winter, sorry. And it is for sale right now for $900,000. The really great thing about this house actually is that the person who restored it was working with the original architect, Donald Wexler, who is still alive. So he did do it quite true to the original intention of the house. Just another house. Again, I've snapped photos over the years and kind of loved and wanted to share with you. So, how did we leave our little Elger Heights bungalow that we loved a lot? We really did. It was adorable. It fit our lifestyle for the 8 years we lived there. We never thought we were leaving, and then we had a child. And we ran out of room really quickly. I hate to say that because we like to think we're minimalists. We're not. So we acquired a lot of baby crap. And I say that, oh, I love my child, but man, there was a lot of stuff that went with that kid. Where did it all go? It ended up in the basement and in his room. So he was born in 2011. And the first home we saw that we really loved was the Alcoa Carefree home on Michigan. It had popped up on Michigan Street. Popped up for sale in 2010, and we saw that house and thought, this is a cool house. What is this? It reminded me of California, but I honestly didn't realize those homes were here in Michigan. So we didn't look at it. We weren't ready to sell. But the next year, we were seriously looking and ready to put our house on the market. So what was high on our list? We were looking for a good school district. I'm sure you hear that every day. People want good schools for their kids. We were looking for a great room. This house had a separate living room, teeny tiny kitchen. No dining room. We had a 30-inch round table in there. And we wanted outdoor living, being outside. I know we have a very limited warm months, but being outside was important to us, especially with a really active child. And we obviously wanted more than one bathroom, which this was lovingly had just one bathroom. The larger eating area, as I mentioned, no dining room, that was important to us. So between April and September in 2012, we made 3 offers on homes that we were outbid on, and we were shocked. We had no idea this was popular yet. We were bidding quite low because there were no comparables, nothing. We didn't understand how these people were coming up with these prices. It's actually one of the questions I have for you is on comps. I don't understand comps on these houses. Maybe one of you will share with me how that works. So how did we... So at the last offer we made was on a house in Grand Haven, and we ended up in a small and modest, this is our house, in Grand Haven. We literally relocated to Grand Haven not knowing anyone for this house. So we drove in the driveway with our realtor. I was like, this is it, this has to be it. It was also the lowest priced home of all the houses we saw. We had paid to definitely play that apart. So it was 1990s inside. The man who lived there for the last 20 years had updated it in 1992 and had never changed a thing. So my gut was, I don't care what it looks like inside. I love this house. I can afford it. Let's go for it. I walked inside and said, whoa, we are talking mauve mini blinds. And whew, it was bad. So it took us 10 months to take it apart and put it together. And there was so many crazy things in this house, but we took it apart and we lovingly put it back together. I don't have any interior photos of what it looks like, but they are on my website if you'd like to see them. So why all of a sudden is mid-century modern popular in West Michigan? where are these homes? What about the houses that are modest in design but still mid-century? And then how do we market these houses to the right buyers? Every time a house goes in the market, I want someone who wants to love this house. I don't want someone to come and make it look like the Home Depot at all. And then what is my own agenda since I'm not a realtor? So we're going to go over all of those. This house is currently for sale in Grand Haven. It's for sale by owner. I don't know too much. I did jot down the man's phone number if anyone's interested. I have not called him, but it's a pretty cool house. It has a little stream that comes out the front, comes out of this circle right here, and flows down. It's really interesting. I just drive by and stop and hope no one's behind me while I snap a picture. So why is mid-century modernism so popular? Obviously, I mentioned before, it's been slowly gaining steam over the last 20 years on the West Coast. And we all know it takes Michigan maybe 20 years to catch on to trends. I don't know what the real number is there, but it does seem to be a lot. I think the popularity has to do with the open floor plan, which everyone wants. I think it also has to do with the design features that are used. Many of these homes are using brick, or they used when they were originally built, the brick and the stone. People can't recreate those these days for affordable pricing. So they can buy a house like this that has what they want for a fraction of what it would cost to build a new home. And the people that are buying these homes, I think they want a modern design. And I know my husband and I looked into building a modern home, and we could not build anything for what we could afford, sadly. So we looked at this instead. This was the best thing. And obviously they're in I have this written down, established communities. So some people are looking for that with good schools. I also think there's something to get excited about here. People are getting excited about these houses. I run a Facebook page where I just share houses that are for sale that I come across. And people are commenting like crazy. They want to know where it is. What's the address? Where can they go? What's the GRAR listing? They want to go to it. So I share those all the time, as many as I can. Where are these homes? This home. Skip one. Okay. Let me go back. Sorry, I skipped a page on my thing. So who's celebrating these houses? Since it's been so popular in the West Coast, you do seem to find that people on the West Coast are celebrating these a lot more. There are two things that I think contribute to the popularity kind of spreading across the United States. One would be Modernism Week in Palm Springs. It's a week-long event. Actually, it's 10 days of tours and lectures and cocktail parties and really experiencing the whole kind of fabulous Palm Springs lifestyle. It is in its 10th year. It's actually going on right this week. I'm slightly jealous I'm here I'm slightly jealous I'm not there and I'm here. But it is a fabulous event. And if you're really interested in modernism, it's a great place to go and kind of experience it where it started. It's a magazine that celebrates mid-century modernism. It's called Atomic Ranch. It's in its 9th year of publication, and it really focuses on everything mid-century. So it's products, it's homes, it's maybe vacations that you could plan if you wanted to see some, sites. But unlike Dwell, which would be a more modern magazine, it's really just mid-century modernism, and it's something fantastic. And one thing I wanted to share with you is that I really feel like this has hit West Michigan. I was watching television the other day, and an Art Van furniture commercial came on with a $399 mid-century modern sofa. I thought, if Art Van is advertising this, we're ready to go. We need to do this. So where are these homes? These homes are all over West Michigan. This one's in Grand Haven. I have a lot of Grand Haven homes because I live out that way. But I have seen these houses all over. Obviously, there's pockets in Grand Rapids that maybe we're all familiar with. You've got the Lamberton Lake on the northeast side, Mount Mercy on the northwest side. Just east of the Kent Country Club, there's a little pocket. And then I think we're all very familiar with the Heather Downs neighborhood in East Grand Rapids. In Alger Heights, there's one teeny tiny little adorable red house that sits right on Eastern between Burton and Alger. It's probably 600 square feet. I don't know, it looks tiny, but it's so super cute. And in Grand Haven and out in Holland, Lakeshore communities have a lot of them. I would say most of them are probably more off the beaten path, a little more hidden, but they do exist. So And I'm going to show you a little bit. So, okay, we all know these mid-century modern homes exist. I'm assuming that's why you're all here. You're all slightly interested, or you're here just for lunch and credit. I get it. So, what about the modest homes of the same era that we see so many of? This house is an example that was recently on the market. I probably wouldn't think twice about this house. It's Main Street, America, built in the 50s. I think the detail here was there were 29 million mid-century modest homes built. There were maybe 1 million mid-century modern homes built. So obviously these are hitting the market a lot more frequently. There are so many of these houses for sale right now. Back up a little bit. Mid-century modest is a term that was coined by Pam of Retro Renovation, a retro renovating blog that she started, and it's really great descriptor of all these houses because you don't really know what to call them, but they are still mid-century. Some of them are really cool. This one, I don't know what it looked like originally when these people bought it. They have done a fabulous job of updating it. I obviously don't know if anything was original in this house when they purchased it, but you can see the kitchen's been updated, but there's still some original features. I would assume that's the original front door. I know for sure that's the original tile in the bathroom. So instead of tearing out the 4-inch tile that everyone seems to hate, they're working with it, which I think they're doing a really great job there. The floor is obviously new. So these houses, although they're very modest and non-crazy from the street, can be a really great house option for someone who's looking for mid-century, modern. Maybe they can't find it or they don't want to wait for it to hop on the market because they are so few and far between from what I've seen. This is a house out in Muskegon that was recently for sale. It was in foreclosure. I did do a drive-by. I did chat with a neighbor. So it's a fantastic example. Actually, it's in a fantastic location. I know many people hear Muskegon and they think, no. But on the other side of that dune behind their house is Lake Michigan. This is a crazy, awesome spot. My husband and I actually were like, okay, I think this is our next project. We didn't make it happen, but that's what we were hoping. So who are buying these houses? Who's buying a giant project like that? I did, but I don't know how many people. You guys probably know more than I would. And I'm not talking about the houses that are done and they're already move-in ready. I'm talking about houses that need some love. So the houses in the higher end brackets, that there has been a couple really great. There was one over on Laraway Lake that just sold. It was beautiful. The person who did it did a fantastic job. There was one out in Ada that just recently sold that was lovely as well. So houses like this, who's buying these? I really think young couples are buying them. They're looking for a DIY project. They've seen the home shows on television and they're looking to do their own thing. They want something modern and something new, but they can't afford to buy it, so they're going to do it themselves. Maybe young families like ours who needed just more space. They wanted that open concept layout, but again, they can't afford a new modern home. And I also have empty nesters that are contacting me saying, hey, I'm looking for a house in this area. Do you know of any available? And I said, I don't really know, the east side of the state, but I'll keep my eyes peeled. So why we personally purchased, again, we were looking for a project house. We were looking for an established community with better schools, and it was much cheaper than buying a new home. This is a very similar home. I'll go back. This is not for sale. I also took this picture one day when I stopped to chat with them. This is on the northwest side of Grand Rapids. It's on the Grand River, except it's really far up from the river. So houses like this, how often do they hit the market? I honestly see a really great example of these houses hitting the market maybe once a month. Would anyone disagree with me? Do you see a lot of these coming on the market? I just don't see the cool roof lines and say, wow, that's a spectacular example. I can't wait to get that household or for someone else to buy it. The mid-century modest, which I referenced before, the cute little ranch, all the time, every day I see a great example that could use some love, but could be a really great house for someone. Okay, we're going to get into pricing because I don't know how pricing works. Does anyone else want to talk about pricing a little bit? Okay, so I have an example, which I'll get to, an actual real example. But right now, I don't understand. It's the next slide. How does it work? I know it depends on school districts. You've got East Grand Rapids Homes versus Grand Rapids Homes. I know because the demand is so high and the inventory is so low, there has to be something with that. But don't understand that how these houses are comping and they're selling above asking. And how do they comp? No? No one knows. Okay. This is a house that was for sale in Holland not too long ago. I walked through the open house. Well, it must have been a while ago because I took that picture and there's no snow, so before it snowed. And I talked to the homeowner. It was they did a fantastic job. They really did the whole thing. They didn't do anything super high-end. There was no quartz countertops, no fancy appliances, all pretty darn basic, but pretty darn lovely. So I talked to her. The house was listed for $220 in an area of Holland, which the houses across the street were listed for $105. So they had it listed at $220. It ended up selling for $235, 15 grand over what they were asking. And I talked to her when I was putting this presentation together to ask her if I could use this photo and tell a little bit about her house. And she told me, and I hope I'm not offending the realtor because I don't know who it is, he had suggested that they list it for $180. So it went for 55 grand more than this realtor suggested. I'm sure he was excited about his commission, but I don't know how that happens. I don't understand. Anyone? You in the front row? I'm just kidding. You don't know. So that's something I would love to learn. If anyone knows, I'd love for you to chat with me afterwards because no one's going to talk right now. So what kind of homes am I looking for to share with other people? This is a home that's not for sale. It's in East Grand Rapids. It's a fantastic example. The homeowners have done lovely stuff inside and outside. I'm looking for houses like this that I open the GRAR page and the listing, wow, this looks great. I can't wait to click through the interior photos. So something with unique roof line. I didn't really go over all the roof lines, but I've shown you a lot, so I hope you've kind of just at least noticed them. Anything original in the house are pictures that I want to see. Something that sticks out that an enthusiast would actually notice. So original tile in the bathroom. Actually, I was into the bathroom here, and they have the original 4-inch tile here. So that's kind of stuck around. It's a great feature. There's no reason to get rid of that tile, in my opinion. When I share this on my Facebook page, I like to call out the original features. So I'll say original kitchen, fabulous clear story windows, which are these windows above the normal windows. Stone. They're called clear story windows.
Clear story.
Clear. I know some people say it that way. It's CLERESTORY. How do you say it?
I say it clerestory, but maybe I'm wrong.
I've heard it said both ways. I always just say clear story, and I guess I don't know if that's correct or not. If you said that to me, though, I would not know what you're talking about. And then I say bathrooms look to be in good shape, or I kind of call out all the features that I'm noticing and getting excited about. I also call out the non-original features, and I'll say updated bathroom might be, not your style, or kitchen is all wrong. These cabinets are not period appropriate. And sometimes there'll be a garage or a carport that was garaged in at some point, so I'll also mention that. This is a little house that I mentioned up on Lamberton Lake area. It's a kind of a cute little area and off of Plainfield. This is a really cute one. I like it. I like the little ones. So when I look for these homes, I'm looking on GRAR. I'm also looking on Zillow and just kind of searching around. And the keywords that I'm not seeing, and I know you guys put them in. The homeowner writes them. Who writes the copy? Anyone? I don't know. Yeah? Anyone? Okay. So there are words that should be in there. Even if they're mid-century modest, I think it should say mid-century in there somewhere, because when people are looking for these houses, that's what they're looking for. I also look for California Contemporary. That was actually used in our copy when we were looking for our house. Modern, ranch, anything. When I just see ranch, there's so many ranches. I want to see modern ranch when I'm searching for that. So these keywords are really, I think they're key to getting the right people looking at these houses, and they're willing to buy these houses for, I'm not going to say top dollar if they need a lot of work, but they're willing to make an offer. They want to get into this house and start remodeling. So retro, original, vintage, needs updating I even put in there sometimes, and I'll find some houses. Just depends kind of what you're looking for. So this is a house over in the Holiday Hills neighborhood in Wyoming, on the corner of Byron Center and 44th Street. Cute, little, adorable. This is probably the cutest one in there. I do know the homeowners, and they did buy it done already, so they haven't done a lot of work, but it's a great little house. So photos that should be included with these. I know we'd all like photos of everything. I don't know what the deal is with people omitting photos of the original bathrooms because they think they're ugly, but I get really excited when it's all the original tile. So is that true? Do people kind of omit ugly all the time? Because you think they're ugly?
We want to see it.
You want to see it? Yeah, I want to see it too. So, the carport, this car, I believe that was probably a carport that was garaged in at some point. So I would probably call that out if I shared it on my Facebook page. So this is a great example in East Grand Rapids. What I do on the weekends is I sit down in my nice cozy chair and I just go through GRAR and I go through the Zillow listings and I just look for anything that kind of catches my eye to share. Obviously the more modern ones are the ones that get the most traffic and people clicking on them and commenting, but even the little modest ones still get a lot of likes, so it's kind of fun. So how do I spread the word about these houses? To me, it's really important to get these homes sold to people who are going to love them and not to knock them down and put in a McMansion or not knock them down, but take everything out and put everything in. So the people who are following along on my blog and my Facebook page and my Instagram account, they're all subscribers. I'm not advertising that. People are following along because they want to. They're organic likes, I guess you could say. The blog is a place where I put together probably the homes that are going to sit on the market a little longer. I don't want to put a whole blog post together and the next day it's sold. That doesn't make sense. But there's a few on there that have been sitting for sale for a while, and that just gets a little bit more traffic. The Facebook page, I push to that, and that gets a lot of people just clicking on the links and going to the GRAR website. Currently, I have 750 people on there. It's not a million, but it's still people who are really, truly interested in buying homes in West Michigan. So my Instagram account actually has more followers, and those people are from all over the United States. There's some people out of the United States, and they are really interested. That's actually where I probably get the most traffic. And because of Facebook and all their crazy policies on how many people see things, and because I'm not advertising, I actually think I get more exposure from Instagram. So that really works for me. This is a house that sold really, really quickly in Grand Rapids. It's on the northwest side. 950 Carpenter was the address. Is the address. This is a house my friend Molly briefly considered. She sent it to me Saturday night. Sunday morning, I posted it on Facebook. It sold in 4 days. It had 8 offers the first day. I only had 3 comments, 24 likes, but 1,549 people saw the post. So hopefully one of those people saw it. I know people who are searching all the time are seeing these houses maybe before I even am because they're so excited about this, or their realtor is looking for them and staying up all hours of the night looking for postings. But this was a spectacular house. One owner, so the original owner sold this house. You can see that the carport is still there, which in my opinion is really fantastic. I've talked to people with carports to say it's not that big of a deal, not having a full garage. Inside, you can see a few pictures of, maybe you've all seen this, but this is a fantastic example of the original house. In my opinion, when I'm seeing this, I'm getting so excited. Wow, they have the original front door. It's the plain front door. They have the original globe light over the front door, the clear story windows above it, the peanut brittle fireplace that in the copy said the fireplace had never been used. And you can see that the brick in there is completely clean. So this is something that I was really excited about. Got the original kitchen here. These are obviously the original kitchen cabinets, the original appliance placement. These are the pictures that I'm so excited about when I'm looking through this. I'm almost getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited. And then, of course, you've got the original bathrooms that probably haven't been touched. In my opinion, again, these are in great shape. These are way better than a crappy plastic tub from the man at the mall who wants to put an insert over your beautiful tile. Yeah. Obviously this is not going to appeal to your standard buyer who wants everything white and neutral, but these are wow, so exciting for someone who's really into mid-century. Because these homes I see often are not time capsules like this. I really wanted to kind of help people. This is what I'm so excited about, is restoring these homes to their original glory, how I call it. They were all such big, awesome homes when they were built. People were so excited to build these really modern homes. that I decided that that's what I wanted to do, or to help people who bought these homes and bring them back to their originalness. So I started True Home Restorations. I call it that because true, I want the home to really reflect inside and outside the whole truth of the original integrity design. Restorations because I really want to restore. I don't want to renovate. I don't want to do anything standard in these houses. So because I'm not interested in being a designer to everyone, I really just focus on mid-century, both modern and modest. This house is currently for sale in Kentwood. It's adorable. It's on Poinsettia Drive. I don't know exactly where that is, but this is a house where I sent it out on my Facebook page and said, this is an adorable little mid-century modern. It's got the original clear story windows. It's got the original front door. It's got this great fireplace out front, and the side porch thing was always there. That wasn't just like an add-on, like, hey, let's add on a porch. I mean, that was definitely a well-thought-out plan. Put that there. When I would walk through this with a potential client, we talk about what can be saved, what we can do, what we're working with. So like that porch, the side things on the porch are a little ornate for me, and I don't know if those are original, the ironwork. They probably are, but that might not be their style. So there's lots of things through this house. I'll show you some interior photos. But so what we're working with, if they'd like to work with me and restore a house that isn't in pristine condition already, we kind of work together to make that happen. Here's the living room. It's got the great fireplace. It's really the best tribute to this room. Normally you'd see tongue and groove ceiling on a house like this, and possibly beams, but as you'll see from the front, they didn't do a beam, post-beam construction, so it's just a drywalled ceiling. When I talk to a homeowner about what's important, some people would say energy efficiency is important. We've got original windows. There's no insulation in this whole house. Like, that's going to be important to them, so that's something they're going to want to address right away. Other people will say, I really want to talk about the design. I can't live in this house until it's beautiful. So maybe getting rid of those mini blinds that are there, just kind of working with them on all the things that they're going to want to make it theirs, and kind of a little more retro than it's reading right now. It's a lot more traditional. This is the kitchen, which is original. I can see this microwave. I don't know what the deal is here. I can't figure it out. But obviously this tile is continuing, and this has been chopped off. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there was a dishwasher. I don't know. It's gone now. So maybe restoring that would be something high on someone's priority list. And here's the bedroom, where this paneling I love. And the original door in the closet I love. This might be something that some people don't get excited about, but this is like, wow, it hasn't been painted. It's still original condition. It looks fantastic. So the copy, I want to maybe not read you this whole thing, but it just says it's a ranch, and it's been updated, and it's ready to move into. It doesn't say anything about all the cool attributes that it has that someone looking for a house like this might really, really enjoy. I had, when I shared this last weekend, only 11 likes, 4 comments, and only 588 people saw this house. But they were people that may be interested in buying it. So they're interested in mid-century modernism. They're seeing this house. So what's next for me? I can share houses all day long, but I don't make any money when I do that. I need to get some clients. Hopefully that happens. I have a few. I have one down in Lansing who has a fantastic home. I've been working with her on helping her finish her basement. And then I've done my house, of course, which we love, but we'd love to sell and do another. And then I had one client up in Rockford where I walked through her giantly amazing home, slightly overwhelming, over 4,000 square feet, and everything had been remodeled at some point. So a lot of work there. I also am working on an e-magazine that will coincide with this and have more information from lots of other people. There are a lot of people in town here that deal in mid-century modern antiques and people who are interested in speaking about it. So we're going to put all that together in a little magazine format. And then I'm also working on it's called Lakeshore Modern. It's going to be a home tour weekend extravaganza out in Grand Haven to start. Save the date if you'd all like to attend. I'd love to have you there. It's going to be June 17, 18, and 19 of 2016. So not this summer, but the following summer. I am working on that with another local mid-century modern enthusiast, and we are working with the Grand Haven, or the Tri-Cities Historical Society, the museum in Grand Haven, to put all of this together. We have been focusing our efforts on Grand Haven homes. I actually spent last summer riding my scooter around and knocking on people's doors and introducing myself. seeing if they knew about their house, if they knew how cool I thought it was or how other people thought it was, and just kind of getting to know the other local homeowners. This is an amazing home out on North Shore Drive, on the north side of the pier that people in the state park, so the other side. And it is one of the remaining fantastic examples on the North Shore. Many of those homes, sadly, are being taken down, and lovely Craftsman McMansions going up. So it's fantastic. No. So I'd like to save these. This one actually is available for rent. So they have a, I don't know, what do they call it, home away, or you can go and rent a house. So this one actually is something I'm hoping to rent soon myself. Oops, sorry. Let's see, what else? So, the home tour. There'll be, right now we have 3 homes on tour, mine included, and we're hoping to have between 5 and 10. We do have 1 speaker confirmed, and we're hoping to have another. And because I really enjoy party planning, there will be some social aspects to the weekend. So we are hoping it will be a success. I've had people say they'd love to come.
Kirby's is always a good stop.
Questions? Are we doing Q&A or no? Yeah?
So I just want to understand what you do. So you help people to renovate mid-century modern, and but you don't actually do the building. You hire builders, and there must be special builders to keep the integrity of this that don't want to make it like everything else, right?
Right. So interviewing builders who really want to stick to the integrity. I have worked with a couple that are just like, this is the weirdest house I've ever seen. And I'm like, and I want you to do this. And they're like, we've never done that. I'm like, I think we can figure it out together though, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any that specialize? I happen to own a mid-century modern home, so
Yeah.
and I'm going to be renovating it, so I'd be interested.
I do know one architect who is very interested in mid-century modern design. He works for a firm that doesn't specialize in it. I could get you his name.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know his name is Ned, but I don't know his contact information off the top of my head. But I can, and he may be able to. Right now, I've just worked with very, I hate to say standard, just people who subcontractors who do a lot of work, and it's really me guiding them through the process.
Yes.
We put in wall mount faucets somewhere, and the plumber was like, I've never seen anything like this. And I'm like, it's not from a spaceship. We can figure this out. So, yeah, it is a little difficult.
Yeah,
But
that's been my experience, that they look at like it's a Flintstone house, not like it's, yeah. Thank you.
And on Facebook, it's True Home Restorations, yes?
sorry, it's the Mid-Mod Mish. I started Mid-Mod Mish before I started the business, so I kept all the social media aspects Mid-Mod Mish. I didn't even mention that, but yeah.
You didn't talk about quad or tri-levels, and I've owned a tri-level, and it was mid-century modern on the inside, and I think that.
There were a couple pictures of them, but I didn't get into all of the different. I only had half an hour.
There too.
Absolutely, definitely.
Advertise those as-
Well, the Holiday Hills neighborhood is full of quad and tri-levels, and I didn't get into them, but I could do a whole nother presentation on those. They are fantastic. Yeah.
I think because mid-century modern is so popular, a lot of homes that were built in the middle of the century get described as mid-century modern. What are the major characteristics that would differentiate a mid-century, let's say, ranch from a mid-century modern, so that as a realtor we know what to look for?
Yeah. To me, it's really the roof line. So, you've got the butterfly roof, which there was one. Maybe I can go back to these. Am I still on here? I don't know. Yeah. So this is an elliptical. It has a crazy name. I don't even know if I can say it. Hyperbole. Yes, that's it. Okay, it goes way out. It's such a cool. I don't know of any else in West Michigan that I can think of that have that one. This is obviously. It's really just a ranch turned on its side. So obviously from this side it's just straight like a normal ranch, but they're using this as the front. I don't know what you call that, but I would call this a mid-century modern home based on, I guess, the clear story windows. This one has a big giant, and I don't even know what to call those either. Again, it's a ranch, but it's turned on its side with a huge peak. This has a flat roof. Again, the same one. Again. Same. This one was crazy, and I wish I had a good shot on view of this, but it was, obviously you can see it goes up, and I think the other side kind of went down, but it wasn't connected, so it was crazy. It was really cool.
Were those influenced by Frank Lloyd Wright? Because he seemed to like the flat roofs.
Yeah, that is like the very beginning of it. It's kind of more of the Americans' view on the Bauhaus and the international styles is what mid-century modernism. Frank Lloyd Wright is more of the prairie style and natural. He was just a little pre, but he definitely was the start of it. Actually, I posted, there's a Frank Lloyd Wright house for sale right now in Galesburg. They want $470 for it. I've had over 5,000 people see that post on Facebook. People love Frank Lloyd Wright. It's not my favorite, but he did a good job. He has a pretty well-known name. This one is a very interesting home out in Grand Haven. Has a catwalk. I don't know what you'd call this, but it is crazy. I've knocked on the door a couple of times, and they've not heard me. Because I'm knocking down here, and they're sitting up here reading the paper. I'm like, hello, I can see you. This is weird. So I haven't actually talked to anyone there. This is a flat roof, as is that. This is obviously the ranch. So to me, this is the butterfly roof. So this is actually my favorite roof line right here. I don't know how that works in Michigan so well, but it works in Grand Haven. I don't know. They have this. This is the flat. This is the Eames house out in Zealand. It's a pretty fantastic example that we have here in West Michigan. You can see the beams in this one, so you've got the post and beam construction. So to me, it's the roof line and the details that make it stand out from a ranch. To me, I can open it up and know that this is a mid-century modern.
There aren't any of those left in Buffalo anymore, I don't think. Flat roofs.
Buffalo? I don't know anything about Buffalo. Because they all caved in from snow? Okay.
One just before or after that, just that one. Seems like that a lot of stuff has been covered up, and that other than the roof line, it's really not mid-century modern.
So,
Maybe it is inside.
I mean,
it
I
looks
guess
like
it, and I haven't been inside, so I don't know. To me, this is a mid-century modern home, and I guess maybe it's in the eye of the beholder. You've got the beams here, so you've got post and beam construction, which to me means in the inside it's going to be free of with walls because the beams hold up the ceiling. You've got this huge, this is all glass, and this little door. So you open it up and you're in kind of almost like a quad or a tri, what were we talking about, where you open up and you're standing in your entryway and you got to go up or down. Again, I haven't been in here, but I'm assuming that's what this one is. And the water feature, I mean, who's got that? So I guess it just depends. I hate to say that, but when I see this, I think, oh, mid-century modern, easy. Maybe you don't see that because you're not looking at them as how I am. Yeah.
Right, from a listing perspective too, it's really important in these pockets of where these houses are to get the builder, to list the builder name in the listing, because enthusiasts are looking for certain builders, and it could attract somebody, and it could be a gold mine just waiting to happen that even the owner didn't know they really had.
That's true. So the original architect, the original builder, whoever, yeah. So does that kind of help? I'm sorry, that's not very helpful.
Architect, yes, sorry.
Oh, that doesn't count. This is a folded plate roof. Plated fold roof. I just call it the zigzag roof. I like that one too. It's not really fair to show you these ones in California. All right. Anything else? Great.
Rhonda Baker, she worked for the city of Grand Rapids. She has worked in the field of preservation for over 17 years, and she currently is the historic preservation specialist with the city of Grand Rapids. So she will offer lots of insight kind of in another area. Hi, everybody.
it is. I'm going to abridge the heck out of this for you. I have extra business cards. I recognize several faces. So if you have specific questions generated from this or about historic districts, just feel free to drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer any of it. Basically, historic preservation is a movement. It's a movement that started in the 1960s and strongly in the late 1960s in Grand Rapids. You had the original ordinance established in '73 and the original district, which I'm sure most of you can guess was Heritage Hill. Anything else I can add? Basically, we have 6 districts and 79 local landmarks. A district is like Heritage Hill, has multiple properties in it, has a defined boundary based on the history and the compatibility of the neighboring properties. Landmarks are individual resource districts. They have one, like the Fitch Place, which is located right on that corner of Fitch and I believe Avalon. It's one house, and I have 79 individual ones throughout the entire city. So that's probably the one you need to be most aware of if you have an abnormal looking home. There's one at 151 Boltwood. Stands out. It's a big, huge Queen Anne Victorian and a block of what, ranches? There's a good chance it might be landmarked, and you might want to drop me a line just to double check. It has the exact same restrictions that a historic district had. Why did we preserve? Well, it started with a need to protect our heritage and our historic structures because they were being demolished wholesale in the 1960s. We were losing that sense of place, that what made Grand Rapids what it is, that even allowed you to recognize the block you were standing on. So that's how it started, and it snowballed from there. And as it began to grow, we realized that preservation was more than just saving an old building. It was protecting neighborhoods. It was stabilizing and increasing property values. It was protecting investments and became a great economic tool for the city. And Grand Rapids, honestly, is a showcase in the nation on how to do it right and what it can do for your city. A good example is Cherry Hill, to get you away from Heritage Hill a little bit. In '91, Cherry Hill had a 25% vacancy rate. The houses were blighted, vandalized, and there were fires every single week in this neighborhood. It was such a detriment, the neighbors were worried that they were going to lose the entire district, it was going to be gone. So they established the Cherry Hill Historic District in 1994. In 10 years alone, and this is unprecedented, in 10 years it went from 25% vacancy to 5%, and the homeowner occupancy shot through the roof. I mean, it happens. It usually takes a little bit longer than 10 years. And 10 years from then, the past 10 years, the vacancy rate is probably at 0.5%, if that. And the owner occupancy has continued to increase tenfold. So it's a showcase as to what it can do for a city. Hartside Historic District, downtown, another showcase for what it can do for a city. When you think of the skyline for Grand Rapids in the past 5 years, you think cranes. Where are those cranes? The Medical Mile and Hartside Historic District. And there's the 2 places you see them. Why? Because they each have their own individual draws to them. Medical Mile speaks for itself. Hartside, that's your entertainment corridor. That's where people want to be at night. That's where the movers are. That's where the new kids are coming in to live. That's where the empty nesters want to start living. It's local. It's got a great vibe. And what generates that vibe starts with your physical surroundings. It sets that precedent, sets that aura of what you're going to experience when you're walking around. All of that is there because they designated it. Had they not, most of Hartside would be gone. So again, it's a great economic tool. It draws dollars, it draws investment, it draws tourism, it increases property values. Yes, this is 2003 and 2005 numbers because they haven't done a report in a while, but the numbers are still the same. In 2005 alone, the tax credit project saw $400 million in direct investment in the state of Michigan. 456 indirect dollars. You saw 1.7 billion come out of preservation in 2003 back to the state. That hasn't slowed down. That has increased. What we have seen alone in Grand Rapids, when we had both tax credits, if some of you will remember, 25% of that for the entire state came out of Grand Rapids alone. And we're still seeing that investment in the federal tax credits. So it's really not trending out, it is actually escalating. Has anybody been out to the Cherry Business Corridor? Cherry Street, where you have all these more modern, the sushi joints and Beurre Vivant. Yeah, the turnover there is, you have an empty storefront briefly. And what you're seeing from that is it's also expanding into the wealthy business corridor. It's because people want to be there. They want to walk from their houses to these establishments. You got people coming in from Ada and all the other subdivisions to these establishments because they want to go to Beurre Vivant. But they're not located out in the burbs. They're located right downtown in the Fairmont Square Historic District. And there's a reason. It's that atmosphere it generates and creates. Okay, a lot of you will deal with homeowners. They're a little more direct. What's the benefit directly to me? It's great, the atmosphere drew me, I like the neighborhood. But what's the financial benefit to me to be in a historic district? Well, it's not quite as clear cut as, here, I can offer you a grant if you want to do work on your house. It's solely invested in your property values. They're higher than any other neighborhood of equal area. They're always going to be that. They range from 5% to 20%. This last year alone, they were 14% over the average, citywide average, as far as their values from the assessor's office. And security. I can't stress it enough. Your investment security is key. You're not going to have somebody investing for commercial or they're private if they don't feel their investment is safe. And the nice thing about preservation is it creates that equal playing field. It gives you some security to your investment. Your neighbor cannot let their property degrade. Their neighbor cannot do things to their property that's going to jeopardize their own property value and subsequently everybody else's. If I'm investing, they're going to be held to the same standard when they're ready to do something to their house. And that's very important. I think that's one of the main reasons you saw the Cherry Business Corridor take off. I think that's why you're seeing Wealthy Street take off. And I know that's what's happened down in Hartside as well. And it boils over into those residential districts. When you see property, you see them, you'll see property values in Fairmont Square, wealthy heights that they haven't seen since the day it was built. And those tiny little postage stamp lots are snapped up. And there's reasons for that. It's not just your atmosphere. Again, it's your property values and your security. There is one tangible still available. It's the federal tax credit program. It is only available to income-producing properties, unfortunately, not homeowner occupants. It's up to 20% of your total cost rehabilitation. Every historic district is eligible. Two are national already. The others have already been certified. So if the property's in the district, it's contributing to the district, it is eligible for these tax credit projects. This is not something run locally. It's run through the state and through the feds. So Erin can hook you up with the person. Go ahead.
Would that include a multifamily structure since it's income producing?
That's a good question, and it gets a little dicey. Yes and no.
Okay.
It cannot be connected to anything associated with the owner-occupant space. But things that are completely disassociated, yes.
Okay.
So it's really a fine dance that if you have something like that, you'll want to walk hand in hand with Rob McKay from the state on how to do it, because it takes a lot more finessing than a straight up whole thing as a rental.
That's a dual benefit too, commercial and residential?
Mm-hmm. It's any income producing, doesn't matter if it's a residential income or commercial or industrial. It does require though a substantial cost. I don't know, some of you might have been familiar with the state one, which had a lesser threshold for spending. The feds have a higher, it's based on this adjusted basis. Do not ask me to explain this. I've heard it 20 times, and I can regurgitate it, but I can't explain it. So it is larger projects. The Wealthy Bakery, if anybody's familiar with that, that was a tax credit project. We get lots of them downtown. So it's going to be a more substantial investment versus I just want to put a roof on. But it does also include other costs. It's not just the restoration. It's your mechanical upgrades, kitchen upgrades, bathroom upgrades. Granted, if you have a stellar, perfectly preserved, historically appropriate kitchen, they're not going to let you rip it out. But most of the ones I deal with, they don't. They've been remodeled 15 times. All of that, engineering costs, permit costs, those are all eligible costs. The only thing they're not going to cover are soft costs, like furniture. You will note new construction, they do not cover. This is a restoration grant for the most part. So really, they're not gonna cover a new addition. But if that's something you're interested in, I can definitely hook you up with more information on it. The other question most homeowners ask, let's get to the meats of it, what are the restrictions? Having grown up, not kind of urban and unurban, I know there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to new developments, new condominiums. I heard girlfriends' parents complain that the associations won't let them paint their door. They couldn't put a bird bath in their front yard. Yes, we have restrictions. Sometimes less than some of the new subdivisions. But yeah, there are definitely restrictions. It's external only. We do not dictate interior. We only dictate exterior. But please keep in mind, and I can't fathom this argument, but I've heard it, windows are exterior, not interior. We don't look at your furnace, but you have to vent it out the outside. We're going to look at that. But a lot of that is pretty much what your homeowners are looking for anyways. You know, nobody wants their house vented out front like they have a big pimple sticking out their forehead. We want it hidden, you know. A lot of it is just really simple, what you're going to do before to begin with.
Are you saying a high-efficiency furnace wouldn't work in there?
Sure you can. We just
vent it
really
off the
don't want it.
ceiling?
Yeah. Yeah, next to your front door.
Just not
Plant a bush.
Yeah, basically almost everybody, 99.9% of them are going to be off the back or the sides anyways, because that's what the homeowners want. And that's all they're looking for.
Okay, so you can put it out the back, you just can't put it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, just trying to keep your gas meter from being stuck on the front. And go around with DTE energy. It happens. But there are two types of reviews. There are staff reviews and commission reviews. I'm staff. I'm it. So if you ever have a question or have a client with a question, just call me, drop me an email. I'm happy to answer. I take as many calls as you can give me. I'd rather talk to people up front than on the back end. It's just a lot easier for life. And I review 95% of what we see in a year. So out of 400 apps, which is the average, most of them never even have to see a commission. So, and the commission does meet once a month, so that's something you have to keep in mind if you do have a bigger project. It's easy. Again, call me. You can get the application form pretty much online. The only thing I do not do is I do not fax it. Our fax eats things, so we don't use it anymore. But the neighborhood associations have them. They're very easy to get. Call me. I'll walk you through it. I'll tell you exactly what to say on it. I'll tell you what you need to attach for commissions. I'll tell you if I'm nervous about something you're proposing, I think you're going to have a hard time with it. So that way you're not blindsided if you do go ask. I'll explain to you options, walk you through things. Hey, maybe if you tweak it this way, I can get you to an approval. There's plenty of them that come in that I work with the owner, and we actually get it from something the commission needed to review to something I can say, here's your permit, start your business. It's all customer friendly. The whole idea is to really help you. I own an old house. I know their work. I know these things are hobbies for most people, and they have to be. I know you'll probably never see the bottom of your list before you sell the house, however long you're there. So I'm more than happy to help. The HBC, it's pretty simple. There's 7 people. They're volunteers. They're appointed by the city commission. They are business owners, architects, homeowners, most of which all are in historic district. I have preservationists. It's very actually personable, not as scary as like the city commission. They do meet once a month. I give you an agenda ahead of time. I tell you to be there, even if they don't have questions, because that one question can hold you up a month if I don't have the answer. Basically, it's pretty simple stuff as far as what they're looking for. They just want to have a full understanding of what you're asking to do, and you'll have a good understanding of what to expect before you get there, because you can get a copy of the staff report, which outlines all the federal and local guidelines they have to look at as it pertains to your question, so you know what the decision is based off of. Because we are, by law, in our ordinance, required to base our decision on the federal guidelines and the local standards. They're not arbitrary. They're not based on what style of house we like or don't like, or if somebody made us mad. They all are couched in these guidelines. And they're all spelled out on the staff report and as part of the motions that you approve. Can you appeal one? Yes. If the commission denies, you appeal to the state board. It's free. It is in Lansing, so you will have to go up there. How often does this happen? I've been with this city for 12 years, 5 times. The whole idea is customer service. We have an average 97% approval rating. Most of our stuff each year is not denied. Does it happen? It does happen. They get appealed? Occasionally. But this should tell you that really there's no reason it needs to get that far for the most part. We can do something, work with people, explain things to them, and then go from there. This is something I really wanted to stress to especially this crowd, is we do a free inspection service. If you have somebody interested in buying a property, or even somebody selling a property, call me, and I will be more than happy to come out with their presents or with them gone and walk the property and make sure there's no violations existing on this property. Why is this important? HP ordinance, any violation of it stays with the property, does not follow the owner. So your buyers could be inheriting a violation that they're not aware exists, whether that be from the seller not disclosing or for the fact that the violation hasn't been cited yet. There's no sunset clause on our violations. So I can go out in a year or more and notice something that hadn't been seen before, and I can cite it
So there's no grandfather clause in that?
if it existed before the district was established. So that's your date dead mark. But if we go out and we find it, we can cite it. The house could have changed hands 10 times in 12 months, and I can still cite it. So it's kind of a safety net for the sellers as well as the buyers. And in addition to this, what I have found a lot of sellers wanting to do, which makes perfect sense to me, is meet me out there. Because they usually, when you're buying these homes, you usually have questions. Lots of questions. And we just go straight down all of them. It's easy. I can walk up and point. They can walk up and ask a question. And it just takes care of all of it in one shot.
What would be a couple examples of violations?
Oh, replacing windows, whether it be one or two. Replacing doors, installing glass block into the basement without permits. Those are probably the most common ones I tend to see.
With those violations, would we be able to see those somewhere? Do they show up as a lien type against the property or a...
They're not lienable right at this point.
Okay, even though they remain with the property, it's not technically a lien?
No, we go after the owners.
So how
Our
would we
code
be able
requires that.
to see it?
What I say is you can call me and ask me
Okay.
if there's anything open. It's an Excel, which is the same database the housing inspectors use and the building inspectors use. So you should be able to reference if you have an account with it, you can reference the address, and anything currently open will show up. But those are about the best ways.
It's in what? I'm sorry.
Excella is the city's database when you want to go in and check on open cases, like open building permit cases and housing cases and things of that nature. We're all under the same umbrella. I do CC realtors when I know it's not for sale and I'm sending a correction notice or something to an owner. I copy the realtor. That's about as front forward as we've been able to get with some of this. And I do get notice when things go on the market, which is lovely. And I send out letters to realtors. Some of you may have gotten them, just kind of reminding you it's in the district. I also send out letters to the owners and welcome packets to new buyers. But it's just been a really good way to introduce people to the district and a lot more personable than them trying to explain things over the phone to me on what they would like to do. I get lots of questions about putting in garages when there aren't any, putting driveways when there aren't any. So it's a lot easier to address some of these things on site, explaining some of these 40% green space rules. It's easier when you're pointing to things.
What sort of authority do you guys have as far as enforcement? Like if you say, oh, this person violated this, you gotta fix this, and they just are adamantly refusing, what do you do?
It will end up as a misdemeanor. They can arrest you and put you in jail.
So what's the downside?
Well, that would be the 90 days in jail and the $500 fine per count per day of the violation. And the court's going to actually allow the city to go in, fix it, and then lien the property in addition.
So nothing bad.
It's happened once. And I was a very special individual.
Are you seeing any these old heritage homes that were divided into 4 and 8 apartments going back into the original?
Not typically. If it could hold 8, do I ever see those going back to single? and that's usually 6,000 square foot house, which is a lot of house for any family. I do see a lot of them declining the numbers to go from 8 to 4, 8 to 5. I see a lot of 2 families going to singles. That seems to be happening quite a bit. Actually just talked with a new buyer who's doing that now over on Warren Street. But in a nutshell, really big, quick one. This is what it is. It's really not as scary as people make it out to be. It's just more about education and less about listening to the neighbor or looking at, I hate to say it, but I've had people I've talked to for 5 years who will still dispense something that's incorrect. Or looking at your neighboring properties, especially when you're in Fairmount Square, even Cherry and Wealthy. Be aware those districts date to 99, 2000, and 1994. So you're going to have vinyl siding, you're going to have vinyl windows, you're going to have all these things we can't approve now in homes throughout these districts. And you just cannot look to the neighboring property and assume that's going to be something you can do. So that's very important to be aware of. What I have found through the letters, through being in line with GRAR and some of the other things, we're starting to get ahead of instead of behind some of these, and catching these owners and talking to them and getting rid of these misconceptions early, which is helping a lot.
So
I don't care what color you paint your house.
So if a person has a house and had aluminum siding and they want to take the aluminum off and put vinyl on it, could they do that?
No, typically not.
They'd have to put the,
It would be a
What?
step process. And I've had that happen in Fairmount Square too, especially when aluminum was really high price-wise. You could scrap it and finish outside of your house and not have paid a dime. We have to see what's underneath it. Take a look at it. There are some people I've seen that have absolutely nothing. Or there's a really good reason why. Half the house had burned on one side, there's nothing there, but there's half here. Then we'll look at alternatives. Right now, what I've seen the commission be able to approve with the state's blessing is 5% board. But it has to be holistic. It can't be married in because they don't match each other profile-wise with wood. So there are some things that are kind of in those instances, yes, but I haven't seen, most of the time when they take them off, they find the siding's actually pretty good shape.
just
And
needs
they
to be painted every
refinish
2
them.
years.
Actually 6 if you know what you're doing. 2 if you go out there with spray thing. 12 months if you power wash the house first and spray it 2 days later. 6 months. So I really, please call me. I'd be more than happy to take them in.
Real quickly, maybe while everybody's here, because this happens in historic districts a lot, paint colors.
I don't care what color you paint it.
Thank you.
Please tell them, as long as it's wood, they can do anything they want paint-wise. It's masonry that we take a look at, because paint masonry can be really a bad color. Cause you maybe colors, here.
Hello?